Hello everyone and welcome to this TEPPEN video news, or update decks really, what am I saying? My name is Nintendo. Today I was trying to think about what to talk about, and I thought to myself, are you tired of trying to climb the ladder and you just can't get there? Are you tired of always losing to those decks that just always whoop your ass? You don't know what to do about it. Have you wondered? A land of illusion lost in the sand, not knowing what to do? Then I have the answer for you. Today I'm going to talk about 5 decks. There won't be any gameplay, but I'm going to go over 5 decks for you guys today, and these 5 decks are pretty much what you're going to see as the meta until the end of this month. So for the next, I don't know, 20 more days or something like that, whatever. Here are 5 decks that you guys can try to play. Build them, and this is currently what's the meta. There are some slight modifications, I think, to these decks. Honestly, I don't think there is. Well, there's not a lot, but there's some slight stuff to them. But this is kind of what is happening right now with the meta. And I mean, I would rather be talking about other decks. I would rather talk about something interesting to play. It's just that when I'm trying to get these going, it's just not really working right now because these decks kind of overshadow a lot of stuff. During the early parts of this month, it was easy to sort of go through some of the decks, but then after a while, you just kind of get annoyed and you're just like, alright, I'll just play what's currently meta. It's annoying, and I don't like it. I would really, honestly, rather play different decks, which I'll try to do in another video, but I figured today, look, if you're interested in what really works and what climbs, here's an update to the meta list. Here we go. Alright guys, so here's the first deck. Alright, it's black. Everyone's kind of sick of this deck already. I used the Decline last season. It's fun for you, not for your opponents. And it's kind of just annoying a lot of people with a recent addition to it. So, let's go over ZShinku Aggro and talk about this. So first up is Selfish Predation. Sack a unit, gain 7 life. Simple. This is what it does. There's not much to it, really. You just, sack a unit, gain some life, and you do it in situations where you know your unit's going to die. Or they're going to seal a unit, you counter with it. Conspirator's Speech. It's a great card to throw out there. It gives a unit death, sacrifice 2 life. So whoever you put this on, they lose 2 life. At memory 2, give that unit death and sacrifices 4 life instead. So you just got to get memory counter 2, and you're dealing 4 damage. So 3 of these, 2 of these, a good amount of damage when you unit dies. It's a very effective card. Black Crown's Madness is probably like one of the major additions for this deck, which is basically a 1-cost card, epic, to sack 3 life, and you remove 3 cards from your deck, and gain 2 MP. So that's like, this is the aggro of it. This helps, push the MP gainage in the deck so that you can get other cards quickly. You are sacrificing 3 cards and removing them from play, but that's the risk factor of this deck, or black in general when using Black Crown's Madness. False Throne, you're sending 1 unit with the highest MP in your deck to the graveyard. Self-explanatory, nothing much to it. You just send the highest unit, and the highest unit is Orochi, which we'll get to, and Tyrants. Send them to the graveyard. Bolt Reavers of Valor, sacrifice 3 life to give a friendly unit plus 3 attack. Cool card, epic, legendary 2 cost. And memory 7, you give an additional flight to the unit. So this is sort of like towards the end game stuff. You will get through actions very quickly with this deck, and then you just build up the board and strike them down. Simple as that. Not really. You just give a unit flight and it just flies over them. Death's Executioner. I like this card because of the milled concept back in the day, but it works for this as well. You send 3 cards from your deck that don't have Revenge active to the graveyard. If your deck has 10 or less cards in it, it gives all friendly units on the field Revenge, +1/+1. So generally, you will go through this deck, and with your units on the field, give them Death's Executioner, and give them Revenge, and then they'll come back, and you've got some stronger units to play with. Rebirth is for the units you sent to the graveyard with False Throne, and if you have Death's Executioner early on in your hand, it does technically send 3 cards to the graveyard. You don't know what it is, but it is 3 random cards. One of them might be a monster unit. it just works out that way, and then you can use Rebirth to bring the unit back with -1/1. That doesn't really bother much with this deck because you're not too fussed about it. Forbidden Fruits, you give a friendly unit 3 attack, and damage taken by this unit is instead taken by the hero, so they are invulnerable for 3 attacks, and this is effectively good on Tyrant and Orochi. Fatally Unworthy, because Fatally Unworthy these days now is just a really overpowered 3-cost action to destroy a 4-cost or less unit that doesn't have Ascend, and deal 1 damage to the enemy hero. Even if you don't destroy the unit, you still deal that 1 damage to the enemy hero. I will not be surprised if this gets nerfed next month, because everyone's expecting it to get nerfed. Well, maybe not expecting, but hoping at least. Bloodbath Frenzy, this is a pretty overpowered 3-cost black action as well. You sacrifice 2 life, you give a friendly unit +1/+2. At Memory 2, you give an additional +1/+1. At Memory 4, you give Spillover, and the unit performs an instant attack. Kind of overpowered for a 3-cost card, because the maximum memory you need to get is 4, and with the way this deck plays, Memory 4 is not hard. And then you're just pumping up your Tyrants, your big units, and they're just, like, almost unkillable half the time. Civilization Rebel Sigma, because Sigma, Infinite Revenge. There's not much to say about this dude. He does what he does, he's good for what he does. It's a revenge cycle card, that's pretty much it. Infinite revenge. Demon King Nobunaga. Dude is awesome. 1-time revenge only, but because you can overpower him by sacrificing a unit and he gains all their stats, and then he revenges with all those stats plus his original stats, and then you ascend on top of another unit, he gains those stats. He just becomes a very powerful unit that's hard to kill. So there's no reason why you wouldn't run this guy. And then of course the MVP of the decks, which is Tyrant. You know, you drop the Tyrants, you want to get rid of them, because your main focus obviously is the Super Tyrant. You want to give the Super Tyrant all the buffs in the deck, because it already has agility and combo, so you might as well buff the crap out of him and just make him so strong that they can't deal with him. Rebel's Memories, like I said, it destroys a random enemy unit. At Memory 7, you destroy all cards on the field. Memory 7 for this deck is not hard, and that's just an instant board wipe. Very strong, very, very, very powerful black destruction card. Serpent Demon Orochi. I find that some people think that this guy is overpowered, which is like really strong and hard to deal with, which is true. But he's not that hard difficult to deal with. If you can maintain a strong board presence, he's not that difficult to deal with. But with this deck, when you keep overpowering him with the buffs, yeah, he kind of just takes control of the game and your opponent can't do anything about it. And obviously, you don't really want to seal him, because then black will just bring it back. And of course, when it dies, it's removed from play. All attack damage dealt by this card becomes 0. It's always going to be 0 when it hits face, with the unit or to the hero, but it deals its attack damage across the field. If your opponent has no monsters on the field, they take the full damage. If they have some units, the damage will spread around. It's a random spread, so the way to just combat him is to always try to maintain a full board and get some shields out, and then you're minimizing the damage. But it is pretty tricky to fight with, but that's what makes this guy very strong in this deck. Demon, the Orochi is just very, very powerful. And to finish this off, Living Death, because, well, Living Death is kind of OP. Just, you know, remove all units on the field from play, reset the field by allowing both players to resummon everything from their graveyard, and fill up the slots. And what makes it powerful is that black always sends stuff to the graveyard. If your opponent has sent nothing, they are at a disadvantage because you've just wiped the field and you've got 3 units on the field and you're just laughing as your units attack. So yeah. That is ZShinku Aggro. That is currently, right now, what you're seeing probably a lot of in the Ladder to the Climb. That is one of the meta decks. Let us jump to the next meta deck. Next up, we have the popular deck for the past 4 to 5 months now, something like that. Envisioned by Kyle. So thank you, Kyle. ZShinku, as it is known as, or whatever. Zombie Hadouken, whatever. I don't know. I've just gotten used to now just calling it ZShinku. It's basically this deck basically kind of just destroys a lot of decks because of the overwhelming power behind one particular unit, and it just kind of just wrecks a lot of decks because it just does so much damage. Your opponent cannot keep up with it, and because there's a lot of mana gainage this deck can actually maintain, it actually just flows really well and effectively against your opponent. So, running off the deck, we have Chain of Fists. I mean, this is a good card for the deck. It's a 1-cost action. You deal up to 4 damage after all 3 Chain of Fists have gone by. It's good to be aggressive with this card as well when playing Chain of Fists. Liberating Slash, you deal 9 damage. Heal the hero or yourself 9 health. This is really effective at just making sure you guarantee you're getting rid of something. So that's why you do it. You can do it to there are some really cool tech plays, like if your opponent's going to kill one of your units, you could just sack your own unit, and if you got the turtle combination going, they'll deal 3 damage and you gain 9 health, so like you can do some pretty sweet plays with it. Age's Memories for that sort of finish finale, if you've got them down to 7 or less, up holes to the face. It's very strong for dealing either 2 damage or 2 cost, but that's not what's important. The most important pact is dealing 7 damage at Memory 7. So, as always that. And, the MVP of this deck is Mega Tortoise, which I think probably and hopefully will be nerfed next month. But, yeah. Its effect is when a friendly unit dies, deal 3 damage split across all enemy units. So this is like the MVP, like you run the turtles with your combination of all your other units and you just making sure units die and getting that spread damage. Getting 2 turtles on the field means you're dealing 6 damage, like, oh man, you can get some fun stuff going. I've had fun, I've played this deck quite a lot and I've had a lot of fun with it, and the turtles are just so powerful with this. Predation for the heals when you need them, and if you got turtle on the field, just dealing that extra damage, so it always comes in handy. Mad Massacre to pop your units, like specifically if you know it's going to die. If you don't have heals, Mad Massacre is perfect because additionally, not only do you deal 5 to whatever unit, Turtle, if you got Turtle next to it, Turtle's going to pop for another 3. So you deal out 8 damage? 6, 7, yeah, 8 damage on that field. That's really good. So yeah, Turtles, that's why Mad Massacre is really effective for this deck. Conspirator Speech, I went over this before with the other one. It's an amazing card in this deck, to be truthfully honest, because of just popping the units with the speech. You get to deal out so much damage, it gets really out of control for your opponents to deal with. Zombie is there because, his revenge, so he will come back, and he always gives you 1 MP when he dies. And he's just always a good blocker, really. The zombie's always just great when your hand to get, especially when he revenge cycles with a +2 attack. Junie, again, also for that mana gainage, like you want her on the field to be, she's a great blocker, and, on death, just giving that 1 MP. The 1 MP is really important for this dual color 5 MP deck. Alfred is there so that if they do drop a 3, you gotta guarantee popping a 3 when you get rid of Alfred, or you ascend over Alfred. Just because you can destroy a random enemy unit with an MP cost of 3 or less, that's always really strong. And sometimes it just catches your opponent off guard. Like, they might realize you've dropped Alfred, but then you might just pop him and they've just lost a unit. So, always good to take the initial advantage with him. Gate is strongly effective in this deck because 1, he's only got a growth of 3, which isn't that difficult. 2, he gains death on level 2, and 3, he gains +6/+6 and destroy after 1 attack. So, like, the main aspect is gaining that 1 MP of him, because you always want to do that. So you have another unit on death giving you MP, which is great. And if you level him up on trades, getting him that +4/+4 boost to his stats is always good. And having Turtle down just means that when he does die, you get to spread some damage, because one way or another it will die. Spread the love of damage, really. Agile is just a really strong 3-cost unit. To ascend, he gains +1 attack, and revenge is +2/+4. Every time he ascends, he will always gain the revenge +2/+4. So as long as you keep ascending with the dogs are always are infinite, just like Sigma, which is probably what I think is fair about them, because if you don't ascend the dogs, they can't gain the revenge. So that's the good part about it. So when it does come back, it's got great stats, and it's just like, it's a strong unit on 2. That's what makes the deck so strong. Because, you use a jewel to ascend on top of units, you got Turtle. Turtle spreads some damage! Yeah, so there's that. Possessing Malice is generally, at the time, it was used to just copy Sigma when they're going to pop him. But I do know that it is good to throw this out at sometimes to just stop your opponent from getting a really strong unit, reset it back to its original stat values, and you take the damage of the MP cost of the unit. Or that's usually generally not a big deal, but Possessing Mouse is effectively strong in this deck for that reason. Fated Unworthy because Fate's so powerful. I don't want to say I can't really say that it's broken. Can I? It's just too good. Let's just go with that. It's just too good of a card. I don't see why you wouldn't run it. It's just good. You're just popping a 4 cost for 3. Like, yeah, it's just really strong. Sigma's great in this deck. He's infinite cycling revenges because you will get the revenges off a lot. And if you get the Possessing Mouse, hey, look, you've got 2 Sigmas in your deck now. Fun times of infinite revenging 2 Sigmas. Nobunaga, again, he's just perfect for this because you just pop him, sacrifice a unit, turtle combination, he revenges, that adds to Sigma's turtle, and you then obviously with this guy, wait for a very late game before you drop him again because he will be a 2 cost. Ascend over a unit, give him extra stats, like when Sigma is already at 7-11, just drop Nobunaga on top of him. Sigma will come back, Nobunaga will get a massive buff, and Nobunaga will become a big threat to deal with. And that's pretty much it. That is the ZShinku for the current meta right now. So, have fun. This is a deck that everyone's kind of over already. Everyone just wants to see something new and different. I personally have to agree with that as well. There are definitely some cards in here that need to be nerfed, so we'll have to wait and see. But let's move on to the next deck. Purple PB Aggro? Yeah, PB Aggro Devil Trigger. I don't know what the name I'm really going to give this thing, but just call it PB Aggro. So basically this came up last season, and this has become like a really disgusting deck to deal with. So it's all about, I would say, 2 units really. You run 3 copies of each because of the amount of resonating that the deck they have. The deck can get out of control for your opponent to deal with. So you run 4 sights to draw. Not much to it. That's just what 4-sight does. You just draw a card from your deck and put it 0. Hookshot to give the units flight. 2 cost action. It's just great, you know, giving flight to a unit. Always a handy. Hidden Intent. You need those negates. They do cut your life down in half, so you've got to be very careful of when you want to do a Hidden Intent and not completely screw yourself over because you are sacrificing a lot of life in this deck. So you got to be very careful when to throw out the Hidden Intents. Monstrous Virus, because yeah, that's just going to be a clincher in this deck. Like, just when if you're nearly going to die but you have the perfect setup, you throw this out and you nullify all damage effects. That means even all the sacrificing of life, it doesn't really matter. This kind of just nulls it all out. Along with Devil Trigger. That's where this is where the combination comes in. You do Devil Trigger, you do Monstrous Virus, any damage you take is completely nullified, especially sacrificing of life. So if you combine them together, then you can do some pretty quick set plays up and all that. Ceasefire, lock all the board for 10 seconds. Very strong at keeping your opponent from summoning anything, especially if you've got this setup. If you've got the potential aggro start with this deck and you don't want them to gain advantage, ceasefire the board. Unforeseen Interference, again, you want to do those negates. Negate an action card with 3 MP or less. That's the difference between that one and the other one. Actually, the other one, if I double check that, sorry, it actually only negates 5 MP or less. So even if they do like a 7 cost action, you can't stop it. But 5 MP or less, you can harm it. Forgot to mention that. Alright. This one is just 3 MP or less. So generally most actions are 3 MP and less, so this one usually comes in handy for that. Okay, so this is where the deck kind of triggers around it. So Trish is your one of the main big units for this deck. She gains Resonate +1/+1. Every time you do an action, +1/+1. And because this deck carries a lot of buffs in it, this is where Trish kind of shines and grows, and where all the purple other actions like Flight and stuff comes in handy because of that. Same thing goes with Crimson Viper. Resonate, she gains 2 HP, and she gains combo for 1 attack. So, giving these units flight, and just buffing them, because 1, she just gains so much HP that they can't deal with it. 2, she combos, and Trish is always gaining +1/+1. Honestly, I don't know why I have Kasuga in here. I think she could work, because she automatically comes with agility and combo. I guess you could try something, and you just buff her. She already is agility and combo in one complete package. You just need to buff her stats, and this deck is all about buffing stats. So here in the black cards, as it is, so you got Demon Drug, which is sack 2 life to give +1/+1 to a friendly unit. There we are. Heartless Experiment, which is sacrifice 3 life and give +2 attack to a friendly unit. So you're just buffing these cards. Black Crown's Madness is the important factor of this deck because it does help with the mana control. So yes, you give up cards, and yes, there's not a lot of units in the deck, but it's worthwhile so that you are sacrificing 3 life, you are gaining 2 MP, and it does just help set your board up. Vault Reavers, because actions just happen a lot in this deck. So hitting the memory count of 7 is not difficult, and you can definitely give a unit flight and additionally flight with 3+ attack. Summon minions. This is where it helps out if you're able to draw one of the units, drop them, summon minions. You resonate, Trish or Crimson Viper, bang, you get another unit on the field, and then you start doing all your actions to start buffing the crap out of the field. And I think that's it, yeah. That's pretty much purple-black aggro. Like, it's kind of just like a disgusting deck that everyone, after a while, a lot of people just started to hate. Because it was just like, matches, if you do the deck right, if you play it really, really well, and I know that the true Asian plays this deck extremely well, you can end matches within less than a minute. Because they won't be able to deal with the onslaught or the damage you're pumping out from Trish and Viper. And if you're able to give them hookshot to give flight, like you're just completely, your units are out of control that your opponent can't even handle it. Like, it's just that strong that they can't do anything about it. Oh, whoops, we forgot one. Oh, and Forbidden Fruit, my bad. I forgot a card on here, I knew I did. Give a friendly unit +3 attack, and obviously the hero takes the damage. So that's also very important, so that, you know, you don't lose the unit and the hero takes the life damage instead. Again, very powerful black card, especially going with Devil Trigger. You can do some really cool setups where even if you would take damage, if you do Devil Trigger with Forbidden Fruit, I don't think you're actually taking damage at all. So, because Devil Trigger nullifies, immune to damage for 10 seconds. So, you know, there's some really nice combo setups that you can do. So that's another major meta deck out there. Let's now move on to the next one. We've got 2 more to go, guys. Alright, here we go. Everybody's favorite deck, the Supreme Raging Demon deck. Or as I like to call it, Supreme Cookie. So basically, this is just Raging Demon. It was a good deck when it first came out, and then it sort of fell off, and then with the resurgence of Agile, the deck has just kind of seen rise with certain changes to other decks that fell off because they were so strong. That Raging Demon just, you know, just quadrupled itself and was just like, I am supreme! Basically, as I like to do. So, you got your Selfish Predations in here, sacrifice, gain 7 life, very important stuff to run in here. Mad Massacre is just for, basically, yeah, it's just like, you know, you pop a unit, if it's going to die, and you know it's going to die, just pop it, sacrifice, and hit another unit for 5 damage. It is 5 damage split, so you can either, if you got the, you can control the damage if it's specifically one target, or if they got a field, you're trying to weaken it, you know, Mad Massacre just helps in those situations. It's a good cost card. Mastery of the Hado, so when you do get your Ascended units off, you want to give them Mastery of the Hado because on death, when they die, you gain 3 MP. So if you can drop 2 onto 1 unit, that's 6 MP, and that's a lot of MP for black. That's a lot of mana for them to gain on 1 unit that has just died. Excuse me, sorry about that. So Mastery of the Hado, very powerful, and is very effective in this deck. Junie, Death, gain 1 MP. I've gone on about this card before. She's just that good for that reason. So that's why you run her. And these are just Ascension fodder cards, really. Alfred, again, he's Ascension fodder because this is an Ascension deck, so you are going to drop Ascension units on top of other units, and you're just going to dish out the damage to your opponents. And, you know, pop a unit for 3 or less, always nice. Gate is in here. Do I need to explain more about Gate? Level him up, and then just let him do his shit stuff. Like, really, I think most Raging Demon decks, when they play, you want to start with Gate, you want to have Junior in your hand as well. You just want to get these two off, and that's it. Like, you've got 2 mana coming back when they die, you've got 2 units with good bodies, then you can give that Gate even more of a good body, and then he dies and whatever. So, good setup stuff. There's always a great card for this deck. Agile, this is one of the main Ascended units you're going to run. Use it to either take out a single target or ascend on top of another. Like, Agile's just really good for that reason. This deck just pumps out the Agile Mayhem. It is an MVP of the deck, but it's not the MVP, but it is generally what helps Ascension out a lot more, because Ascension has a quick, easy, cheap unit to ascend to pop another unit. And the issue with Raging Demon, what other people annoyed, is that you know, it's just an instant destroy to any unit in front when you ascend. Doesn't matter what the hell it is, except Amaterasu when she's fully leveled up, but any other unit will die. Even if you're versing the Ashura Tenku aggro deck, if they've done that, you can still drop the unit in front and pop it. It still dies. So that's... Raging Demons is that freaking powerful. Ultimo Sorin is a new addition to the deck, and probably the only real addition to it, apart from Nobunaga as well. Growth is 3, level 2 he gains +1 attack, so he becomes a pretty decent body unit at level 2. At level 3 he can bring back any of the 5 MP costs or more in your graveyard and wipe off 2 MP. So, seeing as how the only 5 MP unit, well, there is going to be Alexia, that means more Alexia time. And Alexia is just so powerful with Rinn. But Sorin is also really good for just, you know, bringing her back and just being a good body in the field. Fate of the Unworthy, because why not? I don't see a reason why you would not run Fate of the Unworthy. It's just that too good not to run. Sigma, because this is just perfect. Sigma just works well with, like, the late game part of the game turns into a revenge battle. So Sigma just shines late game. Nobunaga, again, will shine late game and just, you know, buffing the crap out of him. I dare I say more to this. He's an Ascended unit. You can use him to ascend as well. Just, you know, even if you don't sacrifice a unit to ascend him on top of, just placing him and ascending him to kill. It's just another great way to do it. But the true enemy people hate in this deck is Alexia. Because when she is played, she does sack 3 life of you. But when she ascends, she destroys a random enemy unit of 5 MP or less. The issue is, of the random 50-50 chance that always happens if you just drop Alexia Raw, Raging Demon, the unit in front, pop it, there's a 50% chance that she will then pop another unit that is 5 MP or less. So your Raging Demon is a 2-4 with Alexia, and this is where Alexia just completely just wrecks every other deck, because a lot of the cards that people play are generally 5 MP or less. So Alexia that 2-4 for Alexia is just so powerful, which really makes the deck really strong and very hard to deal with and annoying. Rebel's Memories, generally you'll be popping a unit, but if you can reach your memory 7, you know, destroy everything. Definitely comes in handy in that late game potential. I think I was able to do one game where it was a mirror match, and the life points were pretty close. I was ahead by 3, and so just before the very end of timer reaching 0, he triggers Selfish Predation to sacrifice the unit to gain the life gainage. Actually, he was exactly 6 points under, and that would have given him the win, because there's no way I was going to hit him with the timer. So Rebel's Memories was just like, I sacrifice everything, and he didn't have any mana to stop it. He didn't have anything else to deal with it. So, like, I just guaranteed that I just won the game on a timeout. So, yeah. And Cruel Game, because Cruel Game is a really strong Black Legendary. It's one of the Black Legendaries I don't mind, because it is a big investment to destroy all units on the field until both you and your opponent have 1. It will randomly pick, but generally the best way to play this card is you have nothing and you destroy your opponent's field. That's always the best way to play this card. So, yeah, that's Cruel Game for you. Oh, and of course, what am I... Oh, I'm forgetting completely. Orochi, because, hey, it's Orochi. Orochi's, like, really strong. Why wouldn't you run this dude? Early game, really hard to deal with. Late game, your opponent may not still see it coming, so it will take them by surprise, and it's just a really strong card. Like, yeah, why wouldn't you run it? It's just really good. But yeah. that is the Supreme Raging Demon deck, guys. And we have one more deck to showcase. Let's get to it. And last but certainly not least, we have Yawn Lee, or Yawn Lee as it is. This is just a really good, safe green deck. Honestly, I find that when playing this deck, I have a better time versing black decks, especially when they're going to drop Orochi, because of the potential the green has when it comes to shields and heals and some units. It can just deal with the Orochi decks. I think I went through in one of my climbs, I did like 5 different black decks. 3 of them had Orochis, and each of them I just beat, simply because I was able to maintain the board presence. Orochi's damage eventually just didn't mean anything, particularly of a unit, but we'll just go over the Yawn meta deck as it is. I could technically showcase, I guess, another video another time with me just playing green. I'm just climbing. It's safe and easy playing green, as it stands right now. So, you run wall jumps, give shield to a friendly unit. Not much more to say about that. Pretty simple, pretty basic. It's just a good screen card to just pop shields on units. And it's a 1 cost. It's great. Disarm. I'm using the wrong versions of these cards. Oh well. Disarm. Inflict seal on enemy unit. 2 cost. Realize I'm not going to the better ones. It's a great 2 cost card. It's so powerful for a 2 cost to inflict seal on enemy unit. Trust me, do not seal Orochi. Don't give them the opportunity to revive it back. But yeah, just good for sealing your opponent's units. Evasive action. Evasive action is a great card because, you know, it's a 2 cost to return a unit's action and HP, attack and HP to their original value. This completely shuts down Nero. If they just drop a Nero in a mirror match, just evasive action Nero, he's back to 0-4. Easy kill. Doll's Memories is really strong. It's really good just to drop a 4, -4. Best to do it on the counter, and if they haven't got mana to deal with it, you can get rid of a unit. Or you drop it on like Turtloid. It doesn't matter that he loses -4, just give him some extra attack. Or, especially if he's been reset, give him Doll's Memories. But, it's also Memory 7, +4/+4 is great. 7 Soaring Spirits is actually a really good green card. I've got to admit, I actually enjoyed having this card because this has actually helped in those black matchups, especially with Orochi. Just playing it, if your hero is green, they gain when a friendly unit is placed on the field, randomly distribute a total of 4 points between friendly units' HP and your own life for 30 seconds. Those 30 seconds have been very crucial when it just came to dropping a unit, gain some life, drop another unit, gain some life, lose a unit, drop another unit. Okay, gonna ascend, get some more life. Like, just spreading that HP really helps against Orochi. Won't lie, it's just so handy. But in general, this is just a really good 2 cost legendary green card. I actually think it's probably like really good for that. Just gaining the HP for 30 seconds, you're able to maintain some board presence, and you yourself, your hero, can gain that life. So it actually comes in pretty damn handy. Feline is just great because he's a beast monster. It's just perfect with the Nero combo setup. Gains MP, he gives you MP boost of 20. If he's played with another unit on the field of a different tribe other than beast and monster, he'll gain a shield. So, really strong for that. And it's great for getting him on the field. Kushi is, when played, explore for Thunderbrew, and your hero gains 2 life. So when you play her, you gain 2 life. Easy. And like the best aspect of her is gaining that Thunderbrew, which is give a unit take 1 damage every 5 seconds, and that unit cannot counter. This Thunderbrew card is really strong. 1, effectively strong on Orochi. 2, just effectively just strong on any other card in general. Just, you know, they can't counter, and they take 1 damage every 5 seconds. Like, you're guaranteeing you're going to get rid of a unit. Thunderbrew is just a really good card. Her stats aren't the greatest, but she's good for that reason. Tsitsi Yaku, a great 4 cost unit, 2/5. When played, it inflicts seal on the enemy unit in front. I have found out that this unit, if played in front of Takeda, the purple unit, when you play a unit in front of him, he's damage to the hero. If you drop Tsitsi in front of it, it seals it immediately. So its effect, Kenshin's trigger does not trigger. Effect doesn't trigger. So it effectively just is a dead card at that point. So I definitely know that. And Tsitsi is just great because it is a seal on play, not unreactable to. Great unit to run. Always for green. Layer, that 4 cost mana control unit, has shield when she's played. She gives 30 MP. And when she's played, she deals 3 damage to a random enemy unit with flight. If they've got a unit with flights and it's weakened enough, Leia just pops it. Leia's good for that. And just, you know, she comes with a shield, she comes with just giving you mana. So, really good unit to always have. Rainy Turtloid, dude's been probably one of the best cards Rinn ever got, ever since the Ascension came out. Like, you ascend, he gains 3 attack, and he gains spillover. Like, you're crazy not to run this guy, because he's just so good for that reason. And he's a 4/110, and he gains +3, so he's a really big body for 4, and he gains spillover, so he's just really strong for that. And Nero, which pairs up with Feline effectively well, has spillover, and when you play him on the field, he gains +1/+1 for each different tribe among all friendly units. So just having Feline on the field and Nero, that's automatically a 4 buff to him. If you have a machine on the field, that's 5. So effectively, that's as much as of attack I know Nero can generally get. There aren't any other dual tribes. It's just Feline and Nero. So that's all 4. If you have a machine, that's 5. If there's at least another tribe, another dual tribe, he can effectively get 2, 4, 6, 6 attack. That'll be the strongest stats he can get. But overall, in general, him just gaining 4/4 on top of 0/4, like, he just becomes pretty strong to deal with. So, very, very powerful unit, always to run in green. Curious Cat Feline, when played, gives a random friendly unit +1 attack and shield, which is always nice. After taking damage and surviving, he gains the MP boost of 20, and the MP boost 20 stacks for each instance of damage taken. So as long as you can keep this unit alive, and if he keeps taking damage, the 20 MP boost keeps stacking. Curious Cat Feline, very good. A very nice mana control unit, actually. Kaguya is another great growth unit that was dropped for this meta, for this season. Growth of 3, she gains MP boost of 30 at level 2, which is good. And at level 3, you're gaining the Returning Arc, which is also a really good card. Return a friendly unit to your deck and gain 2 MP. Like, if you're able to yawn a unit, and then if there's a chance they could die, you could just Returning Arc that unit. You've given yourself 6 MP instead of 4. Not gonna lie, that's a lot of MP. But in general, this is just a good card to just save a unit and get 2 MP back. I don't see why you wouldn't do it. Like, it's just really that strong, and I think it's a great card. She's got good stats as well. Iris, because, you know, Iris is OG since day 1. Shield, MP boost of 50. 5/14. I mean, she did get nerfed, but she's still a great card to play. I don't see why you wouldn't really play her. It's just a really good card. Ultra Lady Karin is effectively an amazing unit for a 5 cost drop unit. She has agility. If you ascend, she gains +2/+2, and she can seal the unit in front. So effectively, she becomes amazing if you're able to get this off. And generally, you always want to ascend Karin, especially if you want to seal the unit in front. So she's always amazingly strong for that. Itsuki, probably one of the best additions Green's ever gotten, to be truthfully honest. 5/2/5. The best aspects of her is Heavy Pierce and Crush. But even better is if you can ascend her to give her an additional +2/+3. She just becomes a beast. And because she has Heavy Pierce and Crush, she just destroys a lot of stuff. Because they can't counterattack on her. And if you can buff her more, just give her shields, like let her stay alive, she just wrecks a bunch of stuff. So Asuki is effectively one of my favorite units to play if they drop Orochi. I'm just going to drop Asuki down and just like get her to a comfortable position, especially with my board with shields and all that. And just so that Orochi can't do anything about it, because the Orochi counterattack is what will hurt. It won't hurt her. So that's where Crush cards come in handy against Orochi. Wood Sprite Sakuya, I think there was a bit of a discontent with most people. I really don't know what the ups and downs are. I mean, I know she can't block enemy attacks, and when she attacks, she expends 2 of her HP to give +1/+2 to another friendly unit. I like the additional buff. If you were able to ascend her on top of a unit, she swaps her HP with yours. So you can effectively give her 30 HP. But I think it's just because she can't block any attacks. So it's best to, I guess, put her in front of a unit that won't be doing a lot of damage, and then you can afford to take those hits, and then she can just keep going until she dies, expelling all the her HP to buff units on the field. So it's a bit of a weird card. It's a bit of a weird card. Like, there are people that just don't like her in general. Though I guess some people do. Like, she runs well in decks, I think, but there are some people that just prefer something different. Felicia, because hey, Felicia's great. You know, just when you play Felicia, she adds more Felicias to the field, and they become Ascension fodder. Really, they can sit there for like one attack phase, and then you can get ready to drop an Ascension drop. So comes in handy when needing to sort of get ready for a block. Natural Cycle, the best counter to to Living Death. To basically, each player returns all cards in their hand, X pocket, and graveyard to the decks, and then everybody draws a brand new hand. If the total number of cards returned to the deck in this way is more than 25, all units in the green side gain +1/+1. Don't know why, but that's always been an annoying factor of when if I have to do a mirror match and they do this, they have a buff, and I hate it. The best way to, I guess, in a mirror match, if they do Natural Cycle and you got it, do yours. That way, yours takes priority and theirs is wasted, and then you get the buff. But yeah, like, this is just really good against Black and Living Death, so that they don't reset the field in their favor, and just have the advantage of like gaining some buff units, and you just reset everything over again. And to finish off the deck, I think it's not really Yawn Lee, it's Yawn Trinity, or I don't know how we're calling it. But the Trinity is just like a card that basically decides the factor of a green match sometimes very early in the match. If you've got a great board set up and all of a sudden you can do Trinity. If they can't answer it, then you pretty much won. Because this card kind of just takes control at some point. All friendly units gain +1/+1 for each different tribe among friendly units on the field. So if you've got Feline, Nero, and Machine, Nero, everyone just gains +5/+5. Like, that additional buff very early in a match, but if you high roll, I guess, just pretty much just wrecks. So there's really jack all crap that they can do, but sadly as it is. But yeah, that is it, guys. Those are the meta decks that you will find out on the ladder. They will be meta for, like I said, for another, I guess, 20 more days, give or take. And then once the new stuff comes through, then we'll find out next month just what is going to be the new stuff to play. Honestly, I don't know. I won't know what the meta will be next month. We have to sort of just see what changes, and then we can sort of get an idea. Like, we'll probably see that this deck, like an old deck, might actually shine because other decks aren't so oppressive anymore that, you know, it can come out of the ashes and go like, hey, I can be played now. We'll just have to wait and see. But hope you enjoy, guys. Those are the meta decks right now. I think next video I'll try to sort of focus on a green deck. I might just do a video of just me playing my matches online from my live stream. Like, I'll just showcase, like, this is what I was playing, like, this is how my matches were going, so I might just do that. Yeah, try to get a green and a black deck out if I can. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Take care of yourselves, everybody, and have a good day. See ya.